wait, baby. Hey, man. Wait. Oh! Yeah. Oh, wait, baby. This that old Willie Hutch here. You know, you had to be somewhere experiencing life. Maybe you was riding in the car to your parents. Nice, cool summer day in the morning. Nah, better yet the afternoon. Just picture this. You pull up to Forest, you see your papa, your uncle, or somebody pull up to Forest Park. He just got he cleaned the car up. He got him some music playing. You done been in that cafeteria all day playing, messed up your school shoes. You done some stuff, but all through the day you done seen this beautiful lady, this amazing lady, pick you up by your hindsight and tell you, boy, get on in that car. She done pat you on your back and say, hey, baby. Then told your uncle, whoever that was, listen to the old Willie Hutch. Hey, how you doing? That's what this is right here. Ooh, real laid back. Wasn't too loud, but you could feel it because Uncle had some sounds in his car. He seen Mel Washington. He turned it down a little because he respect. He has reverence for Mel Washington because, you know, that's Mel Washington. You better act like you got some sense. You just ain't finna be at Forest Park acting like that. Driving. That's one of your schools, I know, Forest Park. Ooh. Ooh, wait, baby. Just imagine it. You say, hey, Mel Washington waved by at you. Bye, baby. You be good. I'll see you later. You felt good, didn't you? Felt good, didn't you? Oh! I just took you back, didn't I? I know it, baby. Oh! Yeah. Oh! Yeah. You riding down 34th Street, getting ready to turn on Olive. That's it, ain't it? Unks then turned the music up a little. You feeling good? They had cinnamon rolls at the school that day. They had that pizza, cinnamon rolls. Miss Foot then gave you an extra little cinnamon roll if you're a little porky boy like me or my brother Tan. Come on now, baby. Just walk with me. Oh, wait, baby. Such a beautiful day. Come on. You look at the gas station, say, can I give me a juice box and a little Debbie cake that's 25 cents? Nah, you ain't getting that. You just got that cinnamon roll in your pocket. You think you sleep, but you ain't getting that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the story of Big Nate. Oh, wait, baby. This your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. Hey, man, listen. I'm excited about my people, one of my favorite people coming on to the show with me, man. I really feel like she needs no introduction. I really feel like we don't have to say who she is because, you know, if you've grown in the city of Pine Bluff, if you have matriculated in the school district, did I say it right, Mel Washington?
That's it.
Matriculated. You know, I gotta say my words. I have to enunciate my words with you. Since if you matriculated through the city of Pine Bluff, the Pine Bluff School District, then you would know that who this amazing woman is, Mayor Shirley Washington. Oh, wait, baby.
Hi, Nate. Thanks for having me here this evening. Nate, you won't do right.
I do sometimes. I do. Mayor Washington, I am so excited about having you on the show.
Oh, it's wonderful being here. I've been looking forward to it, Nate. This is my first time having this opportunity to just sit down with you
Mm-hmm.
and to actually hear this side of Nate. Because, I'm accustomed to seeing you. I guess I've seen you in church.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen you with What's Next Pine Bluff with
Mm-hmm.
that group. You worked with
Yeah.
Stephen and
Yeah.
Adrian on that.
Yeah.
But this broadcast side, I tell you, you come alive. A different Nate comes out.
This is my baby. This is really my. I really feel like I should have been in this realm of things, but I didn't get into it till late. But I'm here now, and I'm excited because I get to help people tell their story. And I'm excited about being able to help people narrate their story for people to be able to control their narrative. Way too often, there's someone always controlling our narrative. There's always someone else with the pen and paper on our story. And so with this gives me the opportunity to help walk people through telling their story. And that's why I'm excited about today talking with you, because I get to help you tell your story. And it's such an amazing, triumphant, blessing, uh, grateful story, because you've poured into so many, even my own family. Even I don't think you taught me at any school, but I will say both of my little brothers have a high regard for you. Fred specifically tells me to tell you that he loves you, and he specifically told me to tell you that he has hold you in high esteem, that you are responsible for his love for history, and you changed his life.
Fred always wanted to be a history teacher.
He did.
And I think it was from like second grade.
Yeah.
And I always try to encourage kids to dream, to
Mm-hmm.
have that goal, that ambition of what I want to be one day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care what you ask. Some of the kids would say a firefighter one day, a football player the next day, an electrician the next day. Fred was consistent. It was a history teacher,
Mm.
and he loved reading.
Yeah.
He loved reading those stories.
Yeah.
So I always remembered my Fred Baker, but it was easy because your dad's name was Fred as well.
Mm-hmm.
But that history teacher, what did Fred actually do?
A number of things.
Okay.
He's in Denver now, and he's like a project manager now.
Okay.
But he still has a real love for history.
Now I will tell you this: what I remember about Terrence.
Mm-hmm.
Terrence and we always met in the cafeteria,
Yes.
breakfast, and we met there lunch. But whenever I talked to Terrence about what his goals was, he wanted to be a diesel mechanic.
Yes.
He wanted to be a diesel mechanic and nothing else.
Nothing
If
else.
I make no mistake, that's what Fred does today.
That's what Terrence does.
I mean, not Terrence, not Fred, but Terrence.
Yeah.
Right. That's what Terrence does today. But he always wanted to be that diesel mechanic. So, that says to us that when kids have that vision, they have that dream, they can make it become reality, just as your brothers have succeeded, just as you have succeeded. And, as I think about the stories and my story, and I like the fact that you said, Mayor Washington, I want you to tell your story. It goes back to my roots.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody who knows me they know where I'm from. Some people might say, hey, you're from Wabaseka, and I correct them quickly. No, I'm not from Wabaseka. I'm from a bit deeper down in the mud holes, the cotton patches, the turn rows, and the cornfields.
You're finna get
of
deep now,
Wabaseka.
so it's not Wabaseka?
It's not Wabaseka. It's what they call Gessie, Maine.
Oh, wait, baby. You gotta be from down up there now to say gasoline.
It's Gessie, Maine to most folk. But now to me, I sat in Gessie, Maine school, or I went to Gessie, Maine school. I lived in the community of Gessie, Maine. I went to Gessie, Maine church and sat in Gessie, Maine church and opened my Bible and read of the Garden of Gethsemane. Gethsemane was pronounced Gethsemane when I saw it in the Bible. But in my community, and for everybody who knew about my community, it was Gessie, Maine. So my sister and I, my sister Faye, my oldest sister, I was probably in the 3rd grade, and she was in the 5th grade or so. We said, we don't live in Gessie, Maine. We live in Gethsemane. So in that community, that Cotton Hood community, my mother wanted to send us out to the field to work. And so she couldn't because Daddy would send us back to the house. As soon as she would send us to the field, you all are messing my cotton up. Get out of this field. Go back to the house. So she realized she had to have someone to keep the house. So she left my oldest sister at the house for a few days. And she would let the younger kids just tear the house up. If she got in a corner with a book and they didn't disturb her, everything was fine. But nothing was in order when Mama came back to the house, right? So one day she said, Faye, you're going to the field with me today. I'm leaving Shirley here. So when she would leave me here, I took control of that house.
So hold on. So you've been running stuff for a long time.
I've been running stuff for a long time.
This ain't nothing new.
And Mama saw that leadership in me. And so I never really picked much cotton. I never did much field work when I was growing up because I was always the babysitter. I was always that one with the domestic mind. I took care of the household. Okay. And then I got to the point where I just didn't watch the kids. I washed the clothes. I cleaned the house. I made them clean the yard. I cooked the meals. I did it all. And by the time I was in 3rd grade, I was cooking full meals.
Wow.
You know, so she saw that leadership ability there. And I knew that my parents were older when we were born. My father was 45 or so, and my mother was almost 30 when the first kid was born. And all my sisters and brothers had dreams. They had aspirations for moving outside of Gessie, Maine, on into other states. And I would listen. I wouldn't say anything. But I felt like somebody had to stay near. Somebody had to be there to take care of my mother and my father when they grew into those golden years.
Right.
So I would listen, and I started to thinking, what is it that I enjoy that I can do and live right here in my community and make a living? And so it just resonated in my spirit. My calling was teaching because I loved working with kids. I had plenty of practice babysitting with my younger siblings, right? So
that's what led you into teaching.
Led me into teaching.
So how long did you teach?
I taught 38 years.
38 years.
22 of those years as a classroom teacher. And I was a real leader in my classroom. I didn't have a lot of discipline problems.
Right,
because
I know that.
Everything was done. Our kids had to know that they had to do things decently and in order. There was only one way, and that was the right way. And that moved on with me into administration. So I was a classroom teacher 22 years, a building principal the last 16 years.
What all schools did you were you a principal at?
I was principal at Cheney. I started out at Cheney, W.T. Cheney for my first 5 years.
Okay.
And then Oak Park for my last 11 years.
Okay. So you, after the last 11, okay, I'm trying to recall, what was the principal's name? Well, Mr. Edwards.
Edwards was at Oak Park.
Right. So after he left Oak Park is when you came in?
1 year after he left. So when he left, there was another principal there who stayed 1 year.
Okay.
And then I followed that principal.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I stayed there 11 years.
Mr. Edwards was my principal at Oak Park. So I went to Gate Meyer and Oak Park. In leadership at Oak Park in the school district, those kids, what years were those?
The year that I went there, the years I was there from, I think it was 2009. Well, I'm sorry, 2000 or 1999 to I left in 2010. I was there 11 years.
Okay.
So 99 to 2010.
Okay. Okay.
June 10, 2010 was my last day at Oak Park.
Last day. And
Yeah,
that's
my
when they
last
shut it
day.
down, I believe.
No, it stayed open a few years after
Okay.
that.
Okay. So after you was done, retired from school, did you go straight into, what made you to say, I want to start politics? What was that reason?
Well, I retired in 2010.
Right.
And for the first 5 or 6 years, or five, I'd say, I did those things that you put on hold for all those years that you were working, traveled, took care of home projects, started doing some construction work with my husband. And then I was talking to one of my friends saying, I've gotten bored doing the same thing every
Every day.
day.
All right.
So she said, why don't you start volunteering down at the mayor's office? Well, Mayor Hollingsworth was the mayor at that time, and she had some projects in the works. So I did call up, and I got on her register or list of, sign up volunteers, her roster of volunteers, I guess I should say. Started volunteering down there, and from that, it just started resonating in my spirit to run for mayor. That was difficult because I was working with Mayor Hollingsworth. I believed in Mayor Hollingsworth. I thought she was doing a very good job, so it was really hard for me to make that move. But as that calling just kept coming, I had to submit to what I was being called to do. So I ran that first term. 2015, I started that campaign, and then the election was March of 2016.
So this next election would put you over 10 years in.
Yes,
10 years of public service.
yes.
That's amazing for you to work 38 years in the school district and then possibly now 10 years in public service.
And if I do the full, and my goal is to do that full next term, that would be 12 years in public service.
12 years in public service.
Yes.
Such a beautiful thing. Let me ask you a question, Mayor Washington. Why? You done your bid for that 38 years. Why do you want to what's your why?
My why is number one, I wanted to leave Pine Bluff. And this man sitting over here in this chair said, no, I'm not going anywhere. Well, I'm not ready to look for a new husband. So I said, I better stay right here in Pine Bluff with him.
Right.
So I started working to make the city better. And I thought, if I can do anything to make this place better, let me do it. Let me step up. Let me make that happen. At the time, the council meetings were very explosive, and I felt like at least we can have civil council meetings. We can do things to pull people together. That's the reason my mantra from the beginning was one Pine Bluff stronger together. Some people say we're not stronger today, but I choose to disagree. I want to say we are stronger. I think there is more unity. Even though, there may be some division, nothing is ever completely perfect.
All right.
But I think we're stronger today
Than
what we were.
Yeah. I think it's a journey. I think, of course, there have been setbacks. But even with those setbacks, like you say, we're still better off today than we were yesterday. With some of those setbacks, what do you consider some of those setbacks to have been?
Well, some of the setbacks, I guess you could say, we did get off to a good start in 2020, 2019. COVID really set us back.
And I think, just to pause it, put a pin in something real quick. People forget that COVID took 2 to 3 years away from us.
Took a good 3 years away.
3? You say 3?
Yeah.
And a lot. And I want to say maybe, I don't know statistics. How many deaths did Pine Bluff specifically have from COVID? Do you know?
I don't have a total count, but I will tell you it was horrendous. I guess I should have more of a count, but I don't have a count. That's something I need to look into. But we were losing people on a daily basis, just as all communities were. It took its toll on Pine Bluff, just as it did, all communities. And who was ready for COVID?
Nobody.
Nobody was ready for COVID. I remember the first day that the first case was announced. It was really devastating to me, and I think to everybody in Pine Bluff, especially all the workers at JRMC, for Pine Bluff to have had the first case in the state of Arkansas.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then nobody told us about that. I was at the radio station. I was at Power 92 that morning, and someone had just stuck their head in the door and said, we haven't heard anything about COVID cases in Pine Bluff. I said, no, but we're going to be as prepared as we know how to be. And before I left that radio station, the governor was on with a press conference announcing the first case in Pine Bluff without even telling us.
Wow.
Can you imagine how devastating that was?
He could have called you or something.
Could have called me, could have called didn't call JRMC, Didn't call anybody. Just made an announcement over the television.
Didn't include you, leadership, or nobody to give you a moment to prepare,
Nobody.
a brace for it, or anything.
No. So from that point, we had to gear up. We had to arm up and get ready to fight that pandemic.
Fighting through that pandemic, such an atrocious pandemic, do you feel like that made you a better leader?
I feel like it made me a bit stronger to prepare for emergencies of that type. We had already been doing some things, but to a degree, it did. It made you a little bit tougher because that was a rough time, a very rough time. And so you have to be resilient. You have to be aggressive with the work. And so I was already doing that, but I think it made me a little bit tougher than what I was before. Yes.
People often forget about COVID. People forget that COVID. People forget that COVID was such a big thing.
They do.
And they often look at it like, well, whatever. Just simply because they made it. But I want to say Pine Bluff probably had at least 700 to 800 deaths.
Yes, Pine Bluff, Jefferson County, or more.
Right, or more. That's a lot. That's a lot. Pine Bluff suffered a lot of losses. People forget that. And I think going through that, you have to become such a stronger leader. What do you think outside of COVID? What do you feel like were some of the other setbacks?
Outside of COVID, I think as a result of COVID, inflation really hit us hard because we had a lot of projects on the table at the time, and everything had to go back through a process of looking at finances because the supply and demand changed tremendously during that period. Yeah. And so as a result, the inflation, the cost of projects is far more than what it was before, before pre-COVID days.
Right. And that took some adjusting.
Yes.
And
I mean, we're still adjusting. It's not, it took some adjusting. We're still adjusting. We're still trying to move those projects forward because you had to increase the budgets tremendously from what they were during the COVID day.
Well, I think once people seen that, y'all will pay $3 for some bread, or y'all will pay $3 or $4 for some eggs. Well, we ain't gonna go back. We know now that we know y'all will pay it.
I think you're right.
I think that's what caused inflation. Once corporate greed, let's just be real, greed caused inflation. Yeah. Because once they seen that people would pay $7 for a pack of hot dogs, why would I charge $2 if I know you'll pay $7?
And when you look at construction, and a lot of our projects were construction because we're trying to build Pine Bluff. So you look at some of the building materials that you might get a sheet of OSB that was maybe $15 a sheet, went up to like $56 a sheet.
And some of them still that high.
The prices are fluctuating. They go down a bit, but they go back up. So I don't think we'll ever see pre-COVID prices again.
I think people are forgetting that. And just a funny story, chitlins before then.
Chitlins.
Yeah, I'm serious. This might sound crazy, but just to think about it, a 5-pound or 10-pound bucket of chitlins was $8, $9, $10. Now I seen them for $30-something for a 10-pound bucket of chitlins.
Really?
So I had to think, did the hog get that much better? Is this a hog? This post-COVID hog, is it much? What this hog do that the hog before COVID didn't do?
Oh my! Well, I can't tell you much about chitlins.
you from Gassy, Maine? You don't eat chitlins.
I'm from Gassy, Maine. That's the reason I don't.
I'm gonna have to.
Well, just a minute. Let me tell you why. My experience with chitlins. I had to clean the chitlins.
Oh, so you know what it is.
We had hog killing day in Gassy, Maine.
I seen it. Okay.
So when hog killing day came, everybody, just not your family. It was like families came together to certain farms and they kill hogs on that day. So you started killing hogs on that day. They started removing the chitlins from this hog and they were still hot.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mama had to separate them, cut them apart, and we had to hold them and pour the water in and clean them out. my sister would become nauseous. She couldn't clean.
She couldn't do it.
Really didn't bother me to clean. I would clean all day, but you could not pay me to put them in my mouth.
You see what it was.
My sister, on the other hand, would eat all you could give her. But yet she couldn't stand to clean them. No, you won't. So I don't know what chitlins cost because I don't go near them in the grocery store.
But, the fact that you could clean them and do the work and do the dirty work and get down in the mess.
And you know why I did it? Because there was nobody out there but my mother.
Oh,
and she needed help. It's the same as when I helped with those kids.
Oh,
my mother needed help. So I would do anything for Mama. I would do anything for my mother.
Amen.
Yeah.
And like you said, the same thing about those kids.
Yeah.
You're willing to get down in the mud. You're willing to get in the guts of the problem.
Yes. And when it comes down to the kids, over that 38-year period that I worked with kids, I never felt like I went to work. I was on a mission. I just did what I did. So I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
And even in this job, it's a lot. It's a big load to carry, but I still enjoy it. I look forward to the progress. I look forward to the projects. We have some projects on the table right now that I'm looking forward to moving forward. I have a meeting in the morning that's talking about the hotel, the convention center hotel that we're building there, and I'm excited about that meeting because we've gotten our full funding. We've gotten our backing for that funding. Now we're ready to sign contracts and get moving with construction. What's good about that project, and we're talking about the Marriott that's coming to the Pine Bluff Convention Center.
So they will have that hotel.
Oh yes, we're finalizing everything. Everything is.
What's the end date on that?
We hope to be in it by 2025.
Wow.
Mid 2025 at this point.
So one thing, before we get too far away from one of the subjects I definitely wanted to address, we have a problem in Pine Bluff. And this just isn't Pine Bluff. This is everywhere with our young black males. We just recently lost another young black male, young Kendall Burton. I believe you may have taught his mom or you may have taught some of his siblings. He was 16, played for the Pine Bluff High football team. What can we do, or what's going on, in your opinion, with some of this, and what do you think can be done to curb some of this violence amongst our young black males?
I don't understand when I talk to some of them. I don't quite understand the anger and where all that comes from. One of the things that I do know is that we're going to have to really intentionally connect with these children, with the young black males, and then not only with the children, but the family as a whole, because it's going to take everybody to turn this around. One of the things that we've done in the city is we've invested $500,000 in the GVI program, and I really believe in that program. And what I believe, the reason I guess I believe in that program so strongly is that it brings in another level of community engagement. And I don't want to say policing, but it's community engagement that's going to connect the kids, law enforcement, families, and other wraparound services to provide for the needs, for the deficits in kids that we have that causes some of these problems, I think. I'm very excited to work with the new GVI coordinator that we have. He just sent me a picture of him out with some kids at a school today. I wish I could show that to you. They're connecting every day. And so we have to do that. He came to me, sent me a text this morning and say, what can I give these kids? So when I meet with them, he's going to meet with some Friday. And so I told him, I said, look, let's build character. One of the things that I always did in Oak Park School was I had character building pieces. So I said, let's let them memorize a poem myself. I want to live with myself and so I want to be fit for myself to know. I want to be able as days go by. I had kids doing that even as mayor, and I was giving them $5, but I couldn't keep up. That was so much. But for him to ask me, it really blessed my heart this morning. So before I left the office today, I had Veronica, who works in my office, to run the copies. She's running those copies, cutting them, getting them ready. Because this is letting these kids know that they have to respect and love themselves. Okay? And I think once they respect and love themselves and then think about how I'm going to work to keep my mind, my body, and my character clean, I think that's going to resonate into kids who are wanting to dream big so that they can live successful lives. Because now many of our kids don't fear death. They don't care about dying.
They've martyrized
They
it.
don't look forward to tomorrow or what tomorrow brings or what the future holds for me. And so we've got to get them back into that mindset of saying, I'm looking forward to my life in college. I'm looking forward to my life beyond college.
So let me ask you a question, Mayor. In a lot of cases, some of these young men, and they really feel like there's nothing to look forward to. So what are some of the tangible things that you can do for them to look forward to doing in Pine Bluff?
One of the things that I have found that when I look at kids, when I look at young kids, the kids who are most involved in extracurricular activities are the ones who are most likely to succeed. So one of the things that we're doing, and I just met with my park director today, we're trying to coordinate with more nonprofit organizations, 501c3s, groups like Redirecting Paths. That's one of the groups. They're sponsoring activities weekly, they're on a monthly basis. So once every month they have activities. So we've got to coordinate activities that kids are engaged in. And I think with that engagement, it's going to make kids be more focused on the positive things in life so that they have always something positive to do and something that's going to guide their thought process.
So you want to afford them opportunities to do positive things.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and I'm excited about it. But what about the ones that have got in situations and maybe they looking at things and saying, I want to do something different now? Are there resources, or will there be resources with your new term for these young men who maybe have had some negative encounters with the police? What are we doing for that group of young men? Because that could be, a challenge for some.
Well, one of the things that we do every summer, and that's our summer youth work program. So we've had several of those kids to come to work for us. This summer we worked 125 kids. And as a result of that work program, some of those kids actually were offered jobs. And so we're trying to expand the summer youth work program, and I think that's going to be good. I also think that once they start developing relationships through GVI, and we're looking at bringing our person back on board with Big Brother, Big Sister program, the Big Brother program that was modeled by President Obama. We did have that up and going. It was doing quite well before COVID. But then when COVID came along, a lot of our programs just kind of took a back seat.
Right.
And we're trying to get those geared up and rolling again. And I think during this next term, they faltered. We were doing well in the first term. It's when they got going. It was early on in the second term that COVID hit. And so some things took a back seat. So,
Mayor, I think everything you're saying is spot on, and I really appreciate it. But I think we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't talk about some of the challenging parts of since you've been in office. And I personally feel, and let me say this first, I agreed with Go Forward. Anybody that knows me will know that I am pro Go Forward. I've even been called by some Mr. Go Forward because I believe I believe that someone has to invest in Pine Bluff. We're already running on a stretched budget. We're running on a lot of challenges in Pine Bluff, so we need that public-private partnership for Pine Bluff. Do you feel that Go Forward was the right decision for Pine Bluff?
I think at the time, yes, it was the right decision for Pine Bluff. I think that um, what I know how my involvement started was when I saw the article in the newspaper one Sunday.
Now,
Where,
were you
where
involved before you were mayor?
yes,
Okay, okay.
so that's from going back to um, early on when they first put that article in the paper about they were forming this partnership to start a progressive movement in our city.
Mm-hmm.
I decided that I wanted to see what that was all about.
Mm-hmm.
So I went by the foundation office that Monday morning, picked up the application, I applied, and I was one of the ones chosen. I think it was that group of 100
Uh-huh.
chosen. So yes, so it was before I ever thought I would even be running for mayor.
So let me
And
ask
then
you this then. It was before you ever thought about running for mayor.
yes,
Were you Go Forward's first pick? When did Go Forward endorse you for mayor? Or did they endorse Ms. Hollingsworth?
I'm. Did they endorse me for mayor? I hadn't even thought about that. Uh, the time I went during the time I was running for mayor, I'm not sure Go Forward had endorsed
Mm-hmm.
anyone, but I would say that if anyone was endorsed, it would have been Mayor Hollingsworth
Okay. Okay.
because she was the mayor at that time.
Right.
Um, I ran for mayor. It had nothing to do with Go Forward.
Mm-hmm.
That was just I was on that team though
Mm-hmm.
prior to
So Go
announcing
Forward
that I was
was
running.
here before. When did Go Forward start? In 2019, 2016,
2017.
2017.
Okay, so the campaign for Go Forward, it was the summer of 2017.
Okay.
I took office January 1 of 2017.
Okay.
So it was like 2016 or 15 when I started with the planning group.
Okay.
It was before I even ever announced
Okay.
I was
Okay.
running for mayor.
Okay. So they didn't even know. They were pretty much riding for Debbie
Yes,
before.
I would think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Do you consider now that Go Forward is non-existent? Are you? Do you feel like we're going to have to find a tax for Pine Bluff?
Just to be frankly honest, I think so. Yes. I would have liked for us to have passed that tax, but I definitely would have liked to have seen us pass the public safety tax
Mm-hmm.
because I think that's something that's really going to be needed as we move forward because we have to put more money into public safety. And one of the reasons I say that is we've come a long way in public safety, okay? When I went in 2017, I could not believe the salaries for fire and police.
Mm-hmm.
They were like between 27 and $29,000 starting salaries.
Wow.
Now we're at 42 to 46,
And what?
which
So if they're at 42 to 46, and that's for the
and police starting salaries.
fire. So what are they? Let's say
So
if they wanted to go to Benton,
if they
what
wanted to go to
or Benton
Benton,
or Bryan? I
well,
wonder.
Benton Brown, let's say Little Rock, they're going to be looking at like 60. Yeah, 60, 62. But back then, they were looking at, we were at 27, 28. Those other cities were at 39, 40 something thousand. So as we have progressed, they have progressed as well.
Right.
They have put public safety taxes in place to increase those salaries. And so we have to do the same. We have to be very competitive, and sometimes even to draw people in Pine Bluff, you might say we may have to pay a bit more. So that money has to come from some source.
We got to find
So
some way to get people to want to work and live in Pine Bluff.
exactly.
And I think that's, I tell people this all the time, people who choose Pine Bluff. I celebrate those people who celebrate and choose Pine Bluff. What do you think we can do about that point of it? To draw people into Pine Bluff? Because as we know, our population is declining. What can we do to start pulling people back to Pine Bluff?
I think that as we work to improve our educational system, and that is happening, I've been very pleased with the performance of our new school board. I feel like the new high school coming along is going to help. Um, I've seen changes just recently in the elementary schools with the quality of instruction that I've been able to go by and see when I visit those schools, and I think that's going to go on up the ladder. Um, Also, people need housing. We don't have, and a lot of people have left our community because they couldn't find suitable housing
Right.
in the area. So one of the reasons that we were handicapped in our ability to move forward with quality housing is because when investors come in, they want to look for acreage. They want to see 5 acres or 10 acres or 15 acres. Well, we didn't have that. So now we've purchased the Southeast School property, 27 acres, and we're getting ready to go in with housing. Right now we're looking at multifamily because single family is so expensive. Until that cost comes down, we're going in with multi. And I think that's going to give us a good start. But we also have other investors, smaller, private, independent investors who are coming in, spot building in these areas where, as you know, urban renewal came through. They have cleared out a lot of blight, commercial and residential blight, but more residential blight. And so as they clear that blight, we have to have investors coming in to do the infill, build those houses, clean up those neighborhoods, and that's where we are. It's taken us a time to get there, but I think we're ready for that turnaround in the neighborhoods to take place, and that's going to draw people back. And there have been some people who have come in who have embraced Pine Bluff, people who have never really lived in Pine Bluff, who have bought property, who have renovated those properties. You know how people call it the flip. They flip those houses. And there are people who come in who are from Little Rock, never lived in Pine Bluff. People who have come back from Texas and are happy to be back in Pine Bluff. So I think the bleeding, the population loss, the great exit has pretty much ended. And I think we are beginning to attract. And I hope that, and our goal in prayer is we will not only attract, we will attract and retain.
So that's a hope, and we're hopeful for that. Are we doing enough to make Pine Bluff an investor-friendly location?
That's our goal. You know, we're working at that every day. And I think with the embrace of the support that we give, because if they want to invest, if it's a property that is owned by the city and we can see that they are a bona fide investor, we're willing to donate the land or to give the land at such a low cost that I think, yes, you can say that incentive makes us an investor-friendly community.
I think that's a great idea. We have to be open for those investors to, hey, come make some money in the Bluff.
Exactly.
Come make some money in the Bluff. What about for not only housing but other businesses? What are you doing, or do you have a plan with our economic developers or whatnot to bring in employers in Pine Bluff?
Businesses. One of the businesses when I was running for mayor, everybody was saying we want places to eat, we want restaurants, and when I would ask in general, what restaurants would you like to see? One of the number one restaurants that folk wanted was a Chick-fil-A. And it took us probably 3 years to get that Chick-fil-A in there.
Hold on, man.
Is that one that you don't care for?
I don't eat no Chick-fil-A.
Is that right? People love it.
Mayor, if you want me to really be sold out on this whole thing, we need a Golden Corral.
Golden Corral.
We need a Golden Corral. I am pleading with you now. I'm going to have my Sunday best on up in that line. We get us a Golden Corral.
Well,
Wait, baby.
Well, I will tell you, we have people in our economic and development, community development area now who are working for retail recruitment, restaurants, and other retail outlets.
So
Golden Corral is on that list. Olive Garden is on the list.
Okay.
Golden Corral,
Okay.
Starbucks.
I don't care.
Panda Express.
Okay.
They've expressed an interest in coming. But what we were told is that if you can get a Chick-fil-A in your community, other restaurants will come.
Listen, when it's time to talk to the folks about the Golden Corral, call me. Call me. I'm going to help pitch that because we don't need to miss out on that.
Mr. Nate Baker, you'll be the first person we call.
Listen, I've already set my mind. My little brothers will tell you, I'll call them like, hey, listen. I know you don't feel like driving. I know you got other things you want to do. Can you take me to Little Rock? Because I'm the big brother, and I feel like they should take me
They
when I
should
want to
take
go.
you.
But anyway, I'll call them. Can y'all take? Let's go to Little Rock. Let's go to Golden Corral. Let's go right now. I watch church on my phone.
Well,
Sit in the corner and eat my breakfast at Golden Corral.
well, see, I'm not big on Golden Corral. I'm not big on buffets. But
What are we gonna do
if
with
you want a
that?
Golden Corral, I don't like Chick-fil-A.
Me neither.
That's not a restaurant of my choice, but
Me neither. I love the fact that I will say this. I am grateful and excited about what they do for the city of Pine Bluff. I'm happy for the people who like Chick-fil-A. I'm glad you go there. Now I can go to churches.
now you can go to churches.
I can go to Church's Chicken and get me a 2-piece and go home and get me a piece of white bread and eat my 2-piece and some white bread. I ain't got to have Chick-fil-A. That's a fancy chicken. I don't need my chicken with a smile. I need my chicken with some grease and a hot pepper. That's all it is. So, Mayor Washington, so we have people who are shopping, openly looking for bringing retail in the Pine Bluff. That's retail.
Yes,
Do
on a
you,
daily basis, you know.
but can a person make a good living off of retail? Now, that's my concern. So, are we putting this same energy into industry?
We, we, we're we are recruiting. We know we have the alliance, and that's basically what they do. And we're working with. I hate to mention a name here, but I'm going to. We have to work with people like Chris Hart over there at Central Maloney because when we look at Pine Bluff from one angle, we have a workforce problem because he has a industrial operation there making transformers. Been there for years. They have the capacity to run 3 shifts a day, but they're running 1 shift a day because they can't retain enough workers. So we're going to have to build that workforce. He's even invested in that. Now we're looking at some other groups to go in and help with that investment. We met with them one day last week, and so we have to give them the support because those jobs will start an individual. One of our high school students could come out once they turn 18. They can start working there, and that starting salary is $50,000 a year.
Oh, wait, baby, 50 bands.
That's so there are job opportunities out there. We just have to make sure we are training, that we are investing, and that comes from home, school, community, in these kids so that they have that good, strong work ethic so that they can.
Part of our workforce, or some of our possible workforce, it may include felons.
Definitely, most definitely.
What are we doing for those who maybe made some bad decisions, and now they have a felony? What are we doing to help that demographic?
Early on, one of the things that we did in the city of Pine Bluff was we banned the box. And I thought that was a good move. And so we also have groups that are coming out. We had a big meeting at our church over at Old St. James. We were helping these felons expunge those records. And I think we have to do more of that as we move forward.
I think that's a great idea where you have some people come out and help with expungement at least once a quarter. I know it's an expensive and a tall ask, but the unfortunate part of it is that they're handing out felonies like popsicles on a summer day. And we got to make sure that we're encouraging our children to understand you can get a felony and it can affect you negatively. And we have to be on the other side telling them it's not the end of the world. There's still ways to excel and to be successful, but you have to make that decision to do something. So I would push for some type of expungement activity where maybe you're partnering with some of these 501c3s at least once a quarter to help with the expungement.
Yes,
I think that's
I know
extremely
some of them
important.
have been having it at least twice a year, but
Right?
and then they happen, intermittently throughout.
Right.
But we can become more intentional, more
Mm-hmm.
focused
Mm-hmm.
on that. We've hired several, even in the city of Pine Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk ex felons, people who have been, incarcerated,
Mm-hmm.
and they have really turned their lives around.
So the city of Pine Bluff itself, that's amazing.
Yes, we've hired some.
See, and I think that's a big part of it. I tell people all the time, sometimes we're so modest that we're not loud enough about our wins. And when you have a win like that,
Mm-hmm.
where someone, hey, the city of Pine Bluff is hiring.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you have a felony, there's work. We need somebody to come fill these potholes. We complain about the city all the time about the streets and the potholes and the ditches. Guess what? Even if you have a felony, you can come apply for these jobs and do something about it. Am I right? Tell me if I'm wrong.
No, you're right. We've hired.
So get off the sideline. Go get in the game.
Right. One of the things that my husband has always done is he's had a heart for people who may not have had a clean record forever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I have inherited some of that from working with him. And everybody needs what? A second chance.
Everybody needs it. You're right. And I think a lot of times that is something that we don't give people. We don't give them that second chance. So I really feel like those second chances is what we need for Pine Bluff. We need to be giving people opportunities, whether it's your first or second chance. But at the same time, one of the challenges, I don't think the people of Pine Bluff are doing enough themselves. Do you what do you think you can do to help motivate the people in the city? Because a lot of people in the city, unfortunately, are I don't know about you, man, Washington. I've been in a situation before where I just, oh well. What can be done to help motivate people as from a leadership perspective?
Well, Nate, I think that we just have to let them know that there are opportunities. And one of the groups that I think we're working to motivate are those that are going to be in our homeless opportunity house. And I got a good feel of how that opportunity house was going to work
Mm.
last week. I guess it was January 14th through the 19th when we operated our warming center
Mm-hmm.
for the less fortunate people who didn't have a roof over their head. And they came in, and I guess we had about 35 or so to rotate in and out. And uh, we encouraged them. We talked to them. We did scripture with them. We actually got on the phone and helped some of them to find jobs. A couple, one got a job at Chili's, and we helped another one find a job at one of the Dollar General stores. And they left there motivated.
Mm.
They left there excited. So I think that once we get the Opportunity House, which is the old First Ward School going, that's going to really help motivate and turn a lot of lives around.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have caseworkers there working with them. We'll provide mental health services. We'll provide other health services, dental service, meals a day, laundry services, and then we'll also be helping them to find jobs. Once they find jobs, they'll have to have a savings account so that they're saving money so that one day they can go out and make it on their own.
Wow. So this
So
opportunity house sounds amazing. Let me ask you this: how many people will it house?
we're planning for 50 eventually. We won't start out with 50, but we're going to build up to 50.
Can I
Now
get a
we're
room?
focusing primarily
Can I
on
get a room? One of them.
we're focusing primarily
What's the
on
rent on
men.
these rooms now, man? We might need to get old Nate a room up in there.
And when they first come in, it's free. But
Oh.
we're starting out. We're having to start on a small scale and build. So we
Mm-hmm.
were hoping that we could start with 24-hour day service. 24-hour services.
Uh huh.
But the group who's going to be the operator didn't get as much funding as they wanted up front. So we're starting out with a day service. So what
Okay.
I saw, and I think that's very important, what I saw over that 5 day period that we operated the warming center 24 hours, okay, was that many of them just needed a place for a shower. Many of them would get a meal a day, but that's not enough. So we're going to feed them breakfast, we're going to feed them a snack, and they'll have shower and laundry facilities. And then there'll be other services during the day. And that'll be 3 days a week to start with. And then we hope to go into the 24-hour service
Okay.
as we do fundraisers and get the program built.
And what you're going to need the people to help with those fundraisers
Most definitely.
to build the capacity to do more. I think that's an amazing start because, like I say, people get down bad.
And that's it's no more than what they do in other communities. Jericho Way here in Little Rock. You
Yeah.
know, we went to I think 3 or 4 facilities here in Little Rock.
Our House,
To
Jericho Way.
Yes.
So I also what's the place? So you guys are kind of like a social service house or something.
Yes, most definitely.
That's a beautiful
And that's
story.
the first ward school between 5th and 6th in Ohio.
When are you looking for this to open?
Hopefully, we'll be opening probably around May, between April and May.
Mayor Washington, you're running for mayor. This will be your third
term.
third term. Or let me ask, I'm just curious, what do you think about term limits?
Most cities, or most of the cities in Arkansas, we don't have term limits. When it comes down to mayor, I hadn't really given it a lot of thought, but I'm glad that we don't have term limits as far as to say you can only run 2 terms, like let's say for president, do 2 terms and you're out, because sometimes it takes more than 2 terms to complete the
Right.
work that has been started.
Right.
And I think that's the situation as to where we are now. In looking at other cities and communities across the country, what I have found is that the mayors who make the most transformational difference in a community are the mayors who do serve 3 terms. And I've looked at that in multiple cities across the country. The Seamless City, Rick Baker, who was the mayor of Jacksonville, Florida, that was a book I read. During that interim, you have a 9-month period there when you're preparing to become mayor. And I read that book. I read Cory Booker's book, not Tory, Cory Booker's book. I got more from Rick Baker's book. And he was mayor for I think, 12 years, that city. And I've talked to mayors of cities here in Arkansas. Now, some of them that have made some real major moves in their cities have been mayors for over 20 years. I think that might be long, but it just depends on the work. I do know that with the interruptions that we've had and the partnerships and the motion that we've gotten moving in our city, I do need that 3rd term to finish strong.
Yeah. We touched on this, and I'm curious. I'm curious because I don't think other people running for mayor will dig deep into this. And I just want to give you, what does a new tax for Pine Bluff look like, if there is one?
Well, if there is one, I think that it might look a lot like what we have had as far as, let's say, the 3/8 cents tax for public safety. I think we need that. I think we need that for a number of reasons. And if we look at maybe a 5/8 cents, because I think we need to look at a penny possibly. And that's something that I started looking at early on, but we do have some plans in place as far as what we will do. We need to look at what we'll do for housing. We need to look at what we're going to do for some of the youth programming, continue the work that we've started in our parks. We're revamping all those parks. So if you start looking at, let's say, Regional Park,
All right.
we're branding that as our softball park. That's our, and all that area. You have golf out there. You have your amphitheater. And then you have your playground and camping in that regional park area. So we're branding it as far as the sports concerned as softball.
Okay.
Then when you go to Townsend Park, we're branding Townsend Park as our picnic, big pavilion area, and baseball, t-ball. all of those sports will go in that. That's branded. Then when we go over to Central Park, over off 20th and Hickory,
Mm-hmm.
in that area, we're branding that park as a um, pickleball. Everybody's getting into pickleball. It's already what is it?
Tennis.
Tennis. So it's been tennis forever, but we're branding some of those courts as pickleball,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have the tennis in there. And I think we use the community center over there. They have a volleyball
All right.
over there. So then when we come back over to MLK, MLK's fields, they've had a massive number of fields out there that have been dormant for years.
Yes.
Well, we have some federal dollars. We're actively engaged in demolishing. There's a demolition process going on out there now, if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Clearing out all
stay in
those
that
old
area, so,
dugouts.
yeah.
Yeah, we're clearing it out. And that's going to be branded as soccer and football.
Okay.
And so I think as we move forward to make those things happen, that's going to improve the quality of life. We've made improvements at the JC Golf Course out there already, just as we've made improvements at the Harbor Oaks Golf Course.
So we're doing a lot. Those things, even those things, are helpful to the young people in Pine Bluff, giving them places to go. What about entertainment? What are we doing for entertainment? A lot of people are tired of having to, me included, having to drive all the way to Little Rock to be entertained.
Well, I think entertainment, we have a lot of venues there in Pine Bluff. A lot of people are, believe it or not, like the casino for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
They go there, especially my seniors. They love.
I like it for the free sodas. That's about it.
You like it for the.
I ain't got no money to get on folk. You gonna smell like cigarette smoke. Food good though. The buffet too high. I'm about to call them folk and tell them, man, listen, I don't want to gamble. I ain't got no money. Thanks for the sodas. They need to let me take a bigger cup in there.
Right.
And then they need to let me get the remote. Because I might not want to watch what they watching sometime. Then I could go to the casino. A little bit more.
So, when you talk about entertainment, there's some entertainment that takes place weekly down on Main Street, and people come to RJ's, believe it or not.
Yeah.
From all over the state. We had a contractor who was working with us on the Southeast Project who died just recently. And I did not know that they had that blues night down at RJ's once a week until he told me. He doesn't even live in Arkansas, but he coordinated his trips to Arkansas so that he was at RJ's on the nights that they had the blues down there.
Yeah.
So that's one source of, one area where some of our older people are entertained. Now for I don't say older people, seniors, folk like me, I guess, all ages. But I think, have you ever been there?
RJ, shout out Nikki. I love her food.
Okay, all right.
Love the food at RJ's.
And so we're, with the parks and recreation, like this past weekend, we're doing more activities for the young people for entertainment. We had a winter sneaker ball this past Saturday night at the waterfront.
Yeah, that was with my brother, little brother Tori.
Yeah, at regional regional park.
It was
area.
great. I seen a lot of it.
We met with Mrs. Ritas this morning, and we're looking at a calendar of events.
Okay.
Similar, so we have to make sure we provide entertainment for our young people.
They had that Miss Ritas and what's the young lady's name? Oh, Portia.
Portia Jones.
Portia, they did that live music thing on the river. Oh my God, that was such a amazing thing. It was such a great turnout. Got to make sure they do stuff like that.
Yeah, we're doing things like that, and then they did the line dancing.
Yes.
And not entertainment but sports. But I'm always proud of what I see happening at the aquatic center.
Right.
It's health. People love going there, but it's also good physical activity.
Yep.
With the aerobics classes, and when I go, it's not only a health workout, but I'm entertained even there in the morning.
Yeah.
With the music that they do as we do go through our routines. So I think that as we talk about venues and entertainment venues, That's going to build up and grow as we bring housing downtown.
Yeah.
My model has always been the Argenta district in North Little Rock. I talked to the guys who did that development, who worked primarily to get that going. And I said, if you all could do something different, what would it be? They said we would bring the housing in first because they brought in the bars, the restaurant, the art galleries, all the entertainment venues 1st. And then there was no foot traffic. Then they came back and built the apartments
Right.
and then built the condos and put the housing in. They said if we had to do it again, we'd bring the foot traffic in.
One of the things Go Forward had going was building some homes in that area. Are they still working on that?
Yes. Still working on that, but they ran into there was some issues that they had to clear up with some gas tanks and maybe some Brownsville projects that need to be items that had to be cleared. But we're ready to move forward.
Great.
Building in that area.
So, Mayor Washington, let me ask you a question because I don't want to miss anything. I want to make sure that you have an opportunity to touch on everything that you needed to touch on because I just wanted to have a conversation with you. I didn't want it to be an interview. I feel like interviews are, too cut and dry. I wanted to just have a conversation. Do you feel like in this conversation there's something that is it something I'm gonna just you know what? Oh, wait, before we go any further. It's your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. I supposed to been said this about 5-6 rounds, but I was so engaged with the conversation. And then we got to talk about Golden Corral. So I'm sorry for not telling y'all. Please share this right now with your folks. Make sure you're sharing this and helping the word get out so people know about this conversation. Now, I'm going to sit back, Mayor Washington. I'm going to let you talk. And you tell your... I don't want to interrupt. I'm going to give you a few minutes to talk.
So, Nate, when I went into office in 2017, you couldn't drive down Main Street. And I'm sure
Could
you
not
remember that.
drive down Main Street.
You could not drive down Main Street.
Hold on. Talk. I'm not going to let you talk. I just want to add some flavor to that. This is Big Nate saying this. Not Mayor Washington. So when you get mad or feel away, come talk to me. The exact same people who pitched a fit about Go Forward, pitched a fit about any progress in Palm Bluff, was the exact same people in control when you couldn't even drive up and down Main Street. And those exact same people, the exact same people told you not to go vote for Go Forward Palm Bluff, told you that people were stealing. Well, if they were stealing, then what was they doing when this building was on Main Street? I'm sorry, Mayor, but that's Nate saying that. And I'm Mayor Washington. You get mad, come talk to me.
So it's blocked in multiple areas, but we opened Main Street. We moved forward with the streetscape project that had been on the table for many, many years. We have completed phase 1 of streetscape. We're getting ready to break ground for phase 2. So we want to keep that going. We know that if we have that convention center hotel, that we'll have those reunions. We can have those sports venues, sports games, and we have the baseball. We're bringing in the fishing tournaments, and they can, utilize that facility once it's in there. We want to bring the housing down at 6 in Georgia, that area, the housing development that will be multifamily. And we know that that's going to open up some downtown living as well as between Walnut and Pine. So we want to make sure we get that development going. I just feel like the go-kart park is well on its way. That's on the Ohio Street project. We've gotten off to a good start in turning our city around, and we just want to keep it moving in that positive direction.
And voting for you does that.
Most definitely. I think that it's exciting that we have so many people running. I think that we've made this job look easy, I think, and we made it attractive. So the good thing is knowing that there are people who are capable of running our city, and I'm not against them running or against them being in that position. I just think we have too many things moving in a direction right now that we need to keep them going. so that we won't stop that momentum that we have and have to start over.
You know, I think one of the good things about some of the people running, um, for instance, Sam Glover's running for mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I think something that says something about you is the fact that Sam comes from your administration, comes from, and who's also one of my dearest friends.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a good thing that says about you is that you had the wherewithal to bring someone and the confidence
Mm-hmm.
to bring someone under your and teach someone under you who could one day become a not a rival but an opponent, a political opponent. That didn't make you scared. You didn't look at him and try to kick him before he got started. You indeed gave him a foot up and said, "Come on."
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that speaks to you as a leader. That speaks to you as a concerned person for Pine Bluff. Because one of the failures of some leaders is that they don't know how to pass the torch.
Right. And the same is true for Joni because we
Yes.
served together.
Yes.
Joni was a council member, and while I was the mayor there. So, do I feel like Joni could be that mayor one day? I do, and we've had that conversation. We've had that conversation many times. And when I say, evidently, it's go forward, the work we've done, just the work that we've done in general, working with the community. Because I don't feel that I've done anything. Everything that we have accomplished has been a we. Okay, so I use that pronoun very liberally. So I think we've made the job look really good, especially when you have a person who is at the state level and ready to step back down to the city level. That kind of, I question that a little bit, but that must be a good move for that person.
Well, we said that
Who's moving back.
she's done several
So-
interviews here with me. Vivian, Miss
Yeah.
Flowers.
Right,
She's all, and even with her, I mean, she's a wonderful person.
right.
And I'm sure that you've had some really rapport and relationship with her as well as at one point with her
Yes.
being a state rep and then you being a man. We're all
We've
from
worked
Palm.
together on many projects.
Right. So you guys know each other and have a good rapport and relationship.
Most definitely.
So that even says something there. How can, you didn't look at her and look to kick her down.
No.
You said, "Come on." If you have a better plan or a conversation or a way to improve Pine Bluff, not one point did I look at it or have I seen Mayor Washington say no. Right. Not one, whether behind closed doors, whether wherever, you said, "Come on."
So, what happens with most people when you start talking to them, even on a show like yours, Nate, the first thing they want to know is what's your platform or what are going to be your goals if you're elected. And from my first term to my second term, I say I don't have a strong platform because I don't know what I'll do. I make you one promise, and that is I will work. I will work for the betterment of this community. I will work with all the stakeholders to make sure that we get the most transformational progress for the city of Pine Bluff as possible. I've done that the first term. I've done that the second term. I will be even more aggressive about that third term because I feel like we're on a path with so much about to burst wide open that I know we can make it happen.
I know you can too. I'm excited about, I think with all those people running, I know we're in good hands.
Yes.
I'm excited about the conversations that we'll have with each of you. I know that each of you will learn from each other and will be better regardless of where we land on that.
Exactly.
Was there anything else that you needed that you wanted to touch before, anything else?
I thank you, Nate, for having me here this evening. It's getting a bit late and it's been a long day. It's not like this time, it's not like it was the first time I ran. When I wasn't working a job, I had retired and I could focus solely on the campaign.
Right.
Now, campaign is stressful because you're trying to do the job
And campaign. Yep.
So it's like it's like almost triple duty, but it's a good strong double duty.
But you got it in you.
So Well, we're gonna make it work.
Man, Washa, I am so grateful for you coming on here.
Yeah.
Um,
I would like to say, I thank the citizens of Pine Bluff for believing in me, for having the confidence and trusting me to do this work for these 2 terms that I've been there. I'm asking for that 3rd term, but if I don't make it, I'm just grateful that we've made the accomplishments that we've made. But I'm looking forward to a 3rd term so that we can finish projects that are started, get some new ones going, continue a lot of that forward movement that they've seen in the city of Pine Bluff, and keep those partnerships growing from within and outside of the community.
well, I'm excited about what you're doing for Pine Bluff, what you have done for Pine Bluff. It means a lot to know that you're committed to Pine Bluff, and I think that's the challenge. I'm always grateful for people who choose Pine Bluff
Yes.
because, like many, you could have rolled off into the sunset.
Yes.
You done your 38 years and served Pine Bluff well,
Right.
but yet and still, you still choose to serve Pine Bluff. So I appreciate that more than anything.
I choose to serve Pine Bluff. I am so happy to serve Pine Bluff. But I will say this: if they choose not to reelect me, I'm going to go home, cook my pot of beans and my pan of cornbread, and mow my grass, and be happy.
Not no chitlins though.
No chitlins.
You ain't gonna cook no chitlins.
No chitlins, Nate. I think if your experience had been the same as mine, you wouldn't want any chitlins either.
No, I don't think I want none now. Hey, but listen here, if you come across them Golden Corral folk, when you had that conversation, call me. When it's time to talk to them, listen, I'll figure it out.
We may turn it up.
Yeah, let's turn that up.
Yeah.
Let's turn that up.
Turn it up and get Nate a Golden Corral.
Oh, wait, baby. Right off 5:30. Hey, it's your boy Big Nate with the Real Underground Radio Station. It's Nate Logic, baby. Hey, man, listen. Now you riding down you in the neighborhood where you staying at, and you feeling good. You grateful. Your pawpaw done came by and had you a little Debbie cake. And now he had you a little Debbie cake and got you a little juice, and he came on and said, "Come on." And now you ready for the week with the weekend. You finna go home and watch wrestling. You finna go home and watch wrestling. You can't wait to wake up that Saturday morning, watch the cartoons. You had a good week. You got the cinnamon roll, the little square pizza. Ooh, that square pizza was good too. Now you finna go home, get you some good sleep. Saturday morning gonna come on. Ooh, yeah. I'm just talking to you. I'm just, helping you understand that you done got situated. You done left Oak Park. Bill Washington said, "Boy, I'll see you later, baby. I'll see you Monday." Ooh, it's your boy, the Real Underground Radio Station. Make sure y'all share this, man. Oh, wait, baby. Oh, ride with that beat, baby.